Welcome to Vend Fireworks 2017, Fireworks NZ. This is just a very quick overview and an intro to Vend and its new look, but also just some things over the left here. Basically, in a nutshell, obviously you can read and see what these are, but really where you're going to live is in this selling area here. And this is where you can toggle the switch here. There's two places. You can click that and you can toggle between training mode, which means you can play around with all this sort of stuff, and whatever you do in training mode doesn't affect anything to do with your stock or your sales reports or anything, which is quite cool. So in other words, you get familiar before you get involved. I'll just turn off this thing here, which enables those signs to come up, and you can tell you're in training mode by this little blue number up the top here. And you can also get out of training mode by re-clicking switch, exit training mode, and exit. There is another way to get there, which is via settings. Cool, you can enable training mode. Anyway, let's go back to this page here. This is where we get into our products and we add and subtract. There's another video on that. So I won't go into those details. So I can just delete that because I don't want anything on there. But what I do want to show you is here's where you open and close your register. So this is a register. And this is where you'd open and close it, meaning this is where you would open it at the beginning of the day and close it at the end of the day. And why you do that is because you want to have periods where you can have a cut-off time between, say, 10 at night and 10 in the morning for the 2nd of November, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of November, where the transactions are kind of been all accounted for and you've done your accounting, you've counted up all your cash into that amount in here, you've counted up all the transactions on the credit card, off the EFTPOS machine, and likewise off the EFTPOS transactions. And it's kind of like when you close the door or close the book and say, right, that's all the trading I've done for that day, and then you open a new book for the next day, and this is where you physically would do that opening and closing. But one thing to note is that there's also a thing called your float, and obviously when you're starting out, you want to make sure that you know what's in your till, or the cash in there, called the float, before you start off. And you can do that in two places by setting that. One is here, you can set it now and enter that in. This is, say, $200 is what was in my till, or my float as they call it, and press save. Or you can go to where it says cash management and do exactly the same thing there and press set float. And all that will do is it'll just basically let you know how much money was in that in my till before I started selling. That's what that's about. And it would mean that you can also take that money out at the end of the day or at the end of your trading, so that whatever's left over is always what you've actually sold, as opposed to an extra $200 that you had sitting in your account. So this open and close, just a reminder, you want to open at the beginning of each day and set what those amounts are by going to what's your set now, you're opening in your cash drawer, and at the end of the day you want to enter the closing amount of cash, credit card, and EFTPOS amounts that were done, and it will give you the total sales that you've performed each of those days. And obviously you just click close register for when you want to close your till. Sales history, obviously you can see what sales you've done, which is kind of cool. Cash management, I've been through that. Status, that would be, say, let's just say you lost connection with the internet or and the like. You can actually still do transactions and everything through Vend. What will happen though is when you come back online, you can reset that data, which is basically what this is saying. In other words, you can set it back up again and transfer all the data that you did do for that last hour, let's say, when you ran out of data on your plan, and it would sync it back up to Vend so you could see what your total transactions were for the entire day. And obviously settings, that's where we saw the trading mode and the rest of it. So here's a very brief rundown of in the selling section what sell, open and close, sales history, cash management, status, and settings are all about.